Hey mathematicians, okay, you have been working so hard on some different multiplication strategies, and maybe you found one you really like so far, or maybe you haven't, you're feeling a bit frustrated. Today I'm going to teach you a different strategy, another method for doing multi-digit multiplication. It's called the lattice method. You probably have seen it before. You got introduced to it a little bit last year, and it might come back to you quickly, and you might remember really liking it. Some students really enjoy this method. So I can use my knowledge of multiplication to learn a new strategy, the lattice method, today. So we're going to actually solve this problem in column A here with any method we like, and then look at column B, which is the lattice method, to see how it works. So I'm going to do partial products for 3 times 64. So I'm going to do 3 times 60. I know 3 times 6 is 18. Attach my 0 on the end. And then 3 times 4 is 12. And add it together to get 192. So when I go over to the lattice method, I'm looking for what I notice they have in common. And what stands out to me is I notice this 12 right here is the same as this 12 here. And when we did 3 times 4, we got 12, and there's 4 and 3. So 3 times 4 is 12. The other thing I notice is the 18. When I did the 3 times the 6, 3 times 6, it gives me the 18. It makes me wonder about the 0. We still have this 0 here we didn't do anything with. But when I look over here, I could have put a 0 right here to make it 180. And it wouldn't have changed my answer at all. So it makes me wonder if the lattice method just doesn't include that 0, but it still puts the numbers in the right place. Because the other thing I'm noticing about this lattice method is that I'm getting my answer by adding up these diagonals from the boxes. So this 2 plus 0 gives me 2. This 1 plus 8 gives me 9. And then this 1 comes down, it's 192. And we got 192 as well. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like doing it on your own in just a moment. Go one more like that, a 3-digit by a 1-digit. Let me try the rectangle method, the partitioned rectangle this time. See if we can compare those. So I'm going to do 5. I've got 700, 10, and 3. So 7 times 5 is 35, attach my 2 zeros. 5 times 1 is 5, attach my 1 0. 3 times 5 is 15. I'm adding up 3,500, 50, and 15. 5, 6, 5, 3,565. That's the same answer here, 3,565. So that must be my answer outside there. And then just like on the last problem, I have the 3 times 5, just like the 3 times 5 gives me 15, it's 15. I have, for my 10 times 5, I had 50. For a 1 times 5, we put 5 here, but remember, if we had put this 0 in this spot, it would be 50, and that doesn't change the answer. The same thing works when I'm thinking about the 35, which is this 35 over here. If we put the 2 zeros on there, would be another 0 here and another 0 here. It's not going to change the answer. So because it pushes it over to those other places, it pushes it into the right spot, these lattice boxes that we're using here. Okay, let me show you how you use those lattice boxes. So when we're doing 7 times 376, I'm going to do 6 times 7 and write in the box 42. So my 10s goes on top, my 1s go on the bottom. Then I'm still doing 7 times 7 is 49. And then my last one, I'm doing 3 times 7 and getting 21. The final step in lattice to get your answer is adding up your diagonals. So in this diagonal, there's only the number 2, so I just bring it down. In this diagonal, between these dotted lines, is 4 plus 9. It's 13. Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to write 13 there. I want to write the 3 and carry the 1, just like I'm adding other columns. So I'm going to put the 3 here, and I'm going to carry the 1 up here. So I'm adding down my diagonal columns. Then I've got 1 plus 4 plus 1 gives me 6. And the last one is just a 2. I bring it down and I get 2. My answer is what's along the bottom here. Gives me 2,632. So I would come back up here and write 2,632. That's how you use these lattice multiplication boxes. Let's do another one. 3 times 45. 3 times 5 is my first step. And I'm putting the answer in this box, 15. 3 times 4 is 12. Goes right there. Final step, adding the diagonals. This is 5. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. And then bringing down my 1, the answer is 135. And remember, I'm getting that, but I'm going across the bottom here. 7 times 89. Now I've got to put my numbers in. When I have a 1 digit times a 2 digit, my 1 digit goes on the side. There's just one box, and the 8, 9 goes on the side where there's 2 boxes. Do 9 times 7, it's 63. And then we do 8 times 7, which would be just 7 less. So it's 56. Adding up each of my diagonal columns. So this one is just 3. This one's 6 plus 6. So now I've got 12. I'm going to put the 2 here, carry the 1 to my next diagonal column. And 5 plus 1 gives me 6. The answer is 623. Okay, now we can use the same method with 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. Just be careful and pay attention to where you're putting the answer to each multiplication problem. So 6 times 3, we put here 18 because the 6 and the 3 are both touching that box. Then we do 2 times 3, and so that's this column, this row, so it goes over here. When I have a 1-digit number, this is the first time we've had a 1-digit number, you put a 0 in the tens and this in the 1 spot, so it's 6, like that. Then I have a 6 in the column and a 4 in the row, so we have 6 times 4 is 24. And then my last one would be 2 times 4 is 8. Again, I put a 0 here and an 8 here. Once all my boxes are full, I'm ready to add my diagonals. This one is just 4. I'm going to do 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 8 more is 18. So I'm going to put my 8 here and carry my 1 to the next diagonal column. 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 is 8. And I have 0 in the final column. So my answer is just 884. I don't need to keep that 0 in the thousands place. It doesn't change my number. So it's 884. One more example for you. 3 times 4, I put 12. And we do 6 times 4, we have 24. Next up, we have 6 times 7 is 42. And finally, 3 times 7 is 21. Doesn't matter what order I put those in, but then I do have to do my diagonals starting down here in the ones place and get a 1, and then do 2 plus 2 plus 2 gives me 6. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 4 is 9. And then bringing down my 2. So we have final answer of 2,961. 2,961. 961. All right, mathematicians, you're going to be giving this method a try by completing your math practice page 141, and they will draw the lattices for you, and you're going to fill in the numbers. If you can't remember what to do, come back to this video and rewatch some examples. And then, as we've been doing, continue to practice your multiplication facts. You can see with this multi-digit multiplication, it's challenging if you don't know your facts, but if you know your facts up to 12 really well, it makes these methods and these strategies a lot easier to do. Good luck today. Let me know if you have any questions.